Welcome back. Organization A Book for Every Child Foundation was founded in 2009 in an effort to address the plight of school libraries in disadvantaged communities with the aim of bringing back the culture of reading. Now, the foundation went on to conceptualize the South African Children's Book Fair, set to bring together authors, cartoonists, publishers and other trade professionals to share information on children's growth and development. Now, this fair is also there to champion a program that aims to address the challenges of primary school libraries in disadvantaged communities throughout the country. And to tell us more, we joined in studio by Vuyokazi, Biyana, the director and the founder of South African Children's Book Fair. Very good morning to you, Vuyokazi. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Tell me, talk us through why was it important for you to conceptualize this particular book fair?
You know, I've been watching, but at the end of each year, we expect matric results. And most of the time, I would notice that the failure rate is high. And for me, the challenge was we always look at the matric results, failing to look at the root cause of what leads to these poor results. So what I decided, I found out that we lack to focus more on the children when they are still young and make sure that we teach them to read and appreciate books. So if we start at the very young age, encourage them to develop that love of reading, I've no doubt that we will prosper in the years to come and we will have better results in matrics.
And generally, I've observed that South Africa has a reading crisis. Why is this? What can be done about it?
It's a huge challenge. It's a huge challenge, considering the latest surveys that have found us wanting. I mean, it's not nice to hear that 78% of our grade 4 learners cannot read for understanding. Hence, our aim is to start at the very young age. And I think the challenge is we don't encourage our children to read at our homes, because for me, it has to start within our homes, and then we can take it out to our communities. And by the time the kids go to school, at least they have been taught the basics, and that is done at home.
You're making a good point there, and I presume that the reason so many parents do not read to their children is that they are illiterate themselves. And some of the some of the books in African literature are very, very expensive.
I think it's a challenge that we need to pay attention to. I agree with you. Some of our parents are not able to read, but then we also, teachers, we have a duty to do to make sure that we encourage the kids to read at school, and then we also encourage them to take the reading back at homes, because you can imagine if a granny were to be read a book by a grandchild, how wonderful that feeling would be.
True, true. Now, this is a brilliant initiative, the South African Children's Book Fair. How do you think it'll help cultivate the culture of reading in children?
You know what we've done with this 4-day event? We have dedicated 2 days, the first 2 days, for schools. Okay. And the first day on Thursday was for primary schools, and the Friday was for secondary schools. And the idea of doing that is to provide a platform for children who would not normally have the opportunity to visit a book fair, to go there, see what's being done, so that they can grow knowing what a book fair is. And I've no doubt if they can do that, it can turn out to be a lifestyle that we can take to our communities, to our homes, and who knows, by maybe in the next 5 years, we'll see a difference from what we have started.
Yeah, and take us through the program over the 2-day period. What will be happening?
We're still continuing with storytelling, reading, and illustrations. We also have, I think we will have book launches as well.
Okay, take us through where this book fair is being held and the times, and how do people get there?
We are at the Blue Wing Conference and Events venue at Ticket Pro Dome in Northgate, and we're starting at 9 up until 5. Today is our last day, and we're hoping that everyone will come on board and come and see what we are doing. And tickets can be bought at the door. We have Ticket Web that is assisting with ticket sales.
Yeah, and we certainly hope that this book fair will change the narrative of reading, particularly in South Africa's children. I mean, pronunciation, accuracy and fluency are one thing and they're very important, but then those narratives have absolutely no value without comprehension. The latest study, if I'm not mistaken, the International Literary Studies of 2016 that was done on 13,000 children indicate that children are struggling to read. How does the government perhaps come to the party?
With this event, we have Gauteng Department of Education that has been assisting in bringing the children to the book fair. What we have done also, I think Gauteng Sports, Arts and Culture have, with their digital space, they have encouraged children who were to be brought to the book fair to write stories so that they can be taught how to do that in digital space. I can't remember at this stage.
Okay.
But all I can tell you is, I think it is helping. I've no doubt by the time we are in our third year, almost all the schools in the Gauteng space will have been made aware of this event, and I'm sure we'll have maybe quite a number of schools joining us for the book fair.
Now, Vuyokazi, in as much as the problem is prevalent across the board, it is a general problem affecting all South African children across the country. Well, particularly then, I guess the focus should be on the children at disadvantaged communities in those townships. But if you take such an event of this magnitude to the affluent areas, Northgate, for instance, how do the children at those grassroots level benefit from this?
We chose Northgate because, number one, it is central, accessible by public transport, and also we looked at the security part and the fact that it is famous for its exhibitions and also the shows. I mean, they also host international shows, so everyone knows about Ticket Pro Dome.
Okay.
Coming to the disadvantaged areas, the Gauteng Department of Education were the ones that were responsible for bringing the children to this space. And what they have done, they have looked at such disadvantaged areas. Yes. What I can share with you was a humbling experience that was shared by some of the pupils when they were saying that they walk to school, they walk to the malls, and the only mode of transport that they know is a taxi. But this time around, they were taken to the venue by buses.
Okay.
So you could tell that it was an experience from them, over and above the experience that they got to find when they visited the book fair. So the Department of Education is looking at roping in those pupils from disadvantaged areas.
Okay. And we certainly hope that in future you will be having smaller book fairs at community halls, so that every child could have access to such a very
yes,
humbling
definitely.
experience.
We are looking into that space.
All
and
right.
I'm saying by next year when we're doing our build-up towards the main
Unfortunately,
event.
we don't have much time. But then thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
That was Vuyokazi Biyana talking to us about the South African Children's Book Fair, which is currently taking place in Johannesburg at Northgate. Now, the fair ends today.